Try that again. Good morning. It is always. You can shut up. Oh, that didn't come over here. Oh well, I don't think I need this thing. But I got the audio coming through now. So good. Hi. Yeah, good morning. So August 16th on a Tuesday morning, the year is 2022. And I'm not at my usual Studio A. I've got some splaining to do about yesterday's shortest record live stream for me. Ken says somewhat of an echo. Why would there be an echo? You know, I wonder what microphone is being displayed. Oh, here's another neat thing. So here's a couple of changes. I'll check. Yeah, default microphone, there's only one microphone on this thing. It looks like it's a little hot. Turn that down a little bit. And see, let's not turn that down here. Let's turn that down over here. Okay, so tell me something else about, give me something in chat. Is the audio okay now, or do we still have an echo? Because last thing I see is RM saying poor Doug, and Ken Stout saying somewhat of an echo. Something in chat. Ay, caramba. Do I make a wisecrack about Ken Stout again? Do I dare do that? Because as far as you know, that's what caused the problem yesterday. Tony Wallow says 10. Okay, if audio is coming through okay and video is coming through okay, give me a 7. Ken Stout now says it's good. All right. And I did make a wisecrack about you today, Ken, because I did that yesterday. And what happened? What happened right after the wisecrack yesterday? I said, oh, Ken gave me a 5 just before I asked for the number 5. And I said, Ken Stout is psychic, or is it psycho? And boom, right after that, everything goes dead. So was it Ken Stout reaching back through the internet with his mad hacking skills that killed my live stream out of retribution? Or was it something else? Did anyone else audio just drop? Well, I'm also looking at stats. I have the task manager open to see what's going on. Let's see, I don't have that one set up on a scene. You know what? I can give that to you on a scene because I think it'd be interesting. And, oh, if I go over there right away, no, let's not do that. So I'll just tell you what I have. I'm showing CPU utilization 66, 72%, 67%, 73%. Memory utilization 67% and pretty stable. And Ethernet, I'm connected to Ethernet now. It is showing send at 5.3 megabits per second and receive at 1.8 megabits per second. 2.1 on the receive, 1.9 receive, 2.1, 1.6, send at 5.4, 4.9. Now, let me show you what speed test is here. We're kind of dealing with troubleshooting here. We'll kind of start out with not the normal startup sequence, but get over it. So here's the speed test that I did before launching XSplit. 12.5 megabits per second download, 4.8 for uploads. That's a little challenge, but I'm seeing sending right now at 5.4 megabits per second. Now, if I come and do a new speed test, click to a new tab in Google, search for speed test. This is my favorite way to do a speed test. I'm not on Task Manager, showing 5.3 megabits per second. Come back to this. That's 23.5 and 506. See, I happened to strike on a very poor speed test when I did it. If you do it over and over, you'll get different numbers typically. All right, so now let's get moving on with today. So today is titled similarly as yesterday. identical as yesterday. Windows Daily number 34, framework laptop. Did that Doug pull the trigger or not? Now, has anybody noticed I have not yet told you what happened to crash yesterday's live stream? It is guessable. If you understand, if you've been following, you know what computer I'm using right now, and you know what vulnerabilities it has. I'm going to give you a little bit to try to guess what it is. Oh, the popping. Yeah, yesterday's short live stream, I noticed when I played it back, there was popping. So I think there's going to be some audio issues here. Next time I come up here, I'm going to bring a USB microphone. I didn't think I needed that because my testing turned out it was pretty good back at Studio A. Geez, Doug is such a Doug. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. So get down here and see the audio clicks and popping. Yep, I'm expecting that. I don't know. Now, I turned this thing off because I was thinking that might be causing it, right? Did I turn that off? Yeah, single press will give me a battery test if it was on. Look at that right there. Chris Garrett, all-in-one bad plug. Chris, you get a gold star. Yes. What happened yesterday is let's go over here. If you go back and watch that again, you'll find that I was just about telling you that I'm at the cabin and that's not a virtual backdrop. And then what I did is I was getting up. I was going to go walk out that way so that you could see the screen doesn't go flaky. That proves not a virtual backdrop. Well, my knee hit the leg of the table. Boom. The power port on the back of this all-in-one is flaky. A few Saturdays ago, I took this computer apart. I took this computer apart and looked at the possibility of fixing that, among other things that I was doing. It was not really fixable. Somebody at that time, I want to say it was Long Dog, but I'm not sure. Somebody suggested that I tape the cord to the back, and I kind of dismissed that. But yeah, I've got tape back there now. The cord is taped. So, and then what happened yesterday is it went down. I got the thing started back up, and I tried to go resume the live stream because there's an amount of time where you can resume a live stream once it's been interrupted, but it was too late. That was the third technical glitch yesterday. I had an audio problem with Fortnite in the morning. I had an audio problem on the live stream. And then the power went out. And I had some clients waiting me to do stuff. So I just said, forget it, we'll skip today. I pinned a comment in the chat. And I have realized since then that that's not a good thing to do. I'll bring this Chrome browser back up and show you. See, I put this pinned comment back up there. Dennis, DDT 2005, has told me that he was then sitting there waiting for a while before he realized it was rescheduled. But this pinned comment at the top, the problem with pinned comments is they're not visible. They'll collapse like that. And so I put this explanation on there, hoping to point out to people that I'm not going to restart it now because I just rescheduled the same stream for later. Now, so I have explained that. Buffering occurred when I did the speed test. By the way, stop triggering my assistant. Okay, just because I said that word right there, that word probably triggered his assistant. On a good note, I was able to start my DaVinci. Yes, I did. I noticed that, and I went and watched it for a few minutes. That was well done of you, and that added to my conspiracy theory about why that crash happened. I said that, I made that wisecrack about Ken Stout, and then because of that wisecrack, he threw his advanced hacking skills, sent a signal through the internet to crash my live stream so that he could then start his own stream. In the audience over there. You know what, Ken? We should experiment with something. There's something about me being able to put coding onto my live stream that would automatically send people to another live stream, I think, after I end my live stream. We could test that with you. Let's move on. Framework laptop. Did that Doug pull the trigger or not? There was a speculation after Saturday's live stream. I think I heard Catherine say, maybe it was on some other stream or something, or in another chat room, that she thought that I would pull the trigger by Tuesday. Congratulations, Catherine. You are correct. I did pull the trigger by Tuesday. But anytime you hear something like up to 4.3 gigahertz, well, if you only get 2.2 gigahertz, you still have met that promise, right? I actually pulled the trigger about 1 hour after finishing Saturday's live stream. So let's go look at that. Oh yeah, if you look at, I put this browser tab up from yesterday. If you, particularly on yesterday's stream at the 1 minute 19 second mark, there's some really bad audio problems there, and that's where you hear me make the wisecrack about Ken Stout. Now let's go on to the next tab that I have triggered here. From Friday, the chat room on Friday didn't have anything that I needed to follow up on. I mean, there was good chat going on there, but not that I needed to follow up on. So I want to get moving along here. And there was no comments there. And then let's go on to the next one. So this was Saturday. Saturday was more significant. Now that's interesting. After I let this sit for a while, the top chat disappears. If I play that for a little bit, the chat comes back in, and switch it to live chat. And in the live chat also, well, it disappeared again. The live chat also, I just scanned through it, and I don't need to follow up on anything in there. I mean, there's good content in there, but the thing that I really need to follow up on is the comments that came in on the video afterwards. There's some good information here. Let's see. I need to show you about which computer I ordered, how I ordered that. I lost where that is. Let's get back over here. Not that one. I thought I had that all queued up. Oh, all right, well, I ordered the i5. Yeah, you guys know what that, the i5 was. We were looking at the i5 or the i7. And so I ordered the i5, but I have time to change my mind on some things, and there's some interesting stuff that came up here in the comments on the video. So here, from NM64, just a heads up, this video was linked on a framework forums, so you may get an influx of computer geeks in the comments, such as myself. So speaking of which, a few tidbits of information. They came up with some information here that we didn't really have as well. Number one, 12th gen Intel can use DDR4 or DDR5, depending upon the motherboard used. Framework's motherboard used DDR4. So you would need to purchase DDR4 RAM instead. Did not know that. A little bit disappointed about that, because that means I can't upgrade later to DDR5 memory without replacing the motherboard, and likely replacing the CPU as well, because I'm not sure if their CPUs come in a socket that you can take the CPU out of this one that I'm buying that's limited to DDR4. So that's not great. 12th gen Intel compared to 11th gen Intel has faster IPC per gigahertz performance, which means that with both CPUs at the same clock rate, the 12th gen CPU will be faster, usually 10 or 20% more. 12th gen was quite a step forward. I'm suspecting most of us kind of knew that. 12th gen Intel comes with more cores to a dramatic degree. 11th gen on the framework maxed out at 4 cores, 8 threads, or even on the top end i7, while the lowest end 12th gen Intel i5 in the framework comes with 12 cores. That being said, the cores are not equal. 8 of the cores are efficient cores that have IPC or per gigahertz performance more similar to the likes of the 4th gen Intel CPU. Brief mute here. And I'm back. So that, certainly takes us to the 12th gen, but I think the framework only currently has 12th gen. I don't think 11th gen was an option. Check out PC Part Picker to get an idea of how much RAM or other PC components like SSDs go for an hour a day. While that site, we kind of know that, I think. Also check out Camel, not a typo, for price tracking over time for Amazon items. For whatever reason, PC Part Picker doesn't include overtime tracking. That was interesting to me. I think I've heard of that before, but I've never checked on it. And I'm not a custom builder, so would I really learn that long term? Number 5, regarding game streaming, perhaps consider using Intel's QuickSync hardware encoder that is on the GPU, as explained by Epos Vox. An expert on game streaming, the QuickSync hardware encoder on 12th gen is top notch. Gaming on this framework laptop is not high enough of a concern for me to go down that road. Fortnite is my only game of choice. I'm not a gamer. I only am intrigued with Fortnite currently, and it can be played on lower-end computers. You don't have to have top-notch. I'm playing Fortnite on this computer, and I'm having to make some compromises, but I'm not going to be doing that real often. 4 gigabytes of RAM is more tolerable if you're using an SSD, or you use Linux or an older version of Windows. That was on my brief comments about 4 gigabytes of memory. But that was some significant stuff there about framework laptop. I'm guessing that Frank Stefan is probably may also be from that framework forum. For your information, the charger you can buy from framework supports, this is interesting, 20 volt, 3 amp, so 60 watts power. It's probably worth it to make sure that you have a charger that can provide as least much power. Since the battery of the laptop can charge up to 60 watts fast, the laptop can even receive more power input, technically supporting up to 100 watts of power input if charging while being used. This is enough right here to make me go ahead and want to buy that power adapter from Framework. The price savings of using my own, which is going to be lower voltage, lower wattage, it's not worth it. And particularly since this implies, well, I think maybe down here, somewhere it implies that the lower capacity charging equipment might not be able to keep up with usage. Meaning you got a weak battery, you plug it in, and it is trying to charge and run the computer and can't do both at the same time. So that's pretty significant. In case you only have chargers intended for phones, little humor there for phones, intended for phones. Example, 15 watts is already considered fast charging for my semi-old Android, and many of my chargers don't offer more power than that, some even less. Then using such a charger for the Framework laptop would take super long to charge. Notice how he says that? Notice how he emphasized that? It would take super long. You heard his tone of voice there, right? To charge and not even be enough power to sustain use under load without draining the battery somewhat. So you're running off of power and it's pulling from battery just to keep up with what you're doing. If you have something in between, 45 watt charger and 30 watt charger or so, then it's not quite as bad, but charging will still be slower than necessary. As explained above, and charging while being used even more so. That's all pretty significant comments there. Ran Israel, on the subject of mixing different size RAM modules, stumbled across this article. Basically, I think, well, I knew this already, that you can mix memory, but you're not going to get dual channel while you have an 8 gig and a 4 gig like this all-in-one has. It has a 4 and an 8, total of 12 gig of RAM. It's not going to be using dual channel. Rand also sent me an email that I'm going to bring up on some other work that he did into this memory issue, because that was interesting. Wintermute, I looked into this a bit more, and it seems Lenovo put out an i5-1240 with a higher base TDP 50 watt than spec. That will give you better performance, but also shorten battery life. We can't know what samples Passmark is basing their CPU benchmarks on, but as a small sample size for all these CPUs, I doubt that Framework is doing the same as Lenovo. They probably stay within or closer to the spec, which is 28 watts. You should look for benchmarks on these particular Framework laptops before deciding. And I'm not going to go studying on those benchmarks. He does give some here, and I do have them pulled up. I have several things pulled up here. Oh, here's my order. Let me stick with this first before I go back to my order. Yeah, I have this on one of these other tabs. We'll get to that. Let me finish with the comments first. But I don't need to study that much. I think what we've seen already between the i5 and the i7 is enough to convince me. I'm going to add the charger and also have another change I think I'm going to do. I think that's the last of the things I need to respond to. Yes. So now let's move on to the next tab. Let me go take a quick peek at chat, be sure everything's going okay. Yeah, I think so. Sounds like I have some construction equipment coming up the driveway here. So here's my order, total $941. I did a $100 deposit. That's all you can do. And it's an i5-1240 up to 4.4 gigahertz, i5-1240. And then here's where a change I think I'm going to make. I bought two of those USB-As, one HDMI, one USB-C. Well, I totals 4 ports, but I'm usually not going to be using the HDMI. So I think I'm going to bump this up to 3 USB-As, one HDMI, and one USB-C. That gives me a total of 5 ports. I can pop in the HDMI when I want to connect an external monitor or use a capture device. I don't anticipate that's going to be a very frequent need. Now, another thing that I want to point out up here, batch 3. This is batch 3. So I'm presuming Framework started with a batch 1 and a batch 2 and a batch 3. We made a comment during Saturday's live stream about it takes about 3 months to get them. I don't think that's true. I think what it is they have release dates or batch dates. So if you order a computer just 1 month before this batch is releasing, you may have a shorter turnaround time, a shorter delivery time than somebody that ordered at the beginning of this batch. I'm suspecting that probably batch 1 might have had a long pre-order period because they wanted to build up enough orders to make it worth producing a batch of computers. Now, I also compared to their pre-builds. I looked at the price of this, pretty close to this configuration on a pre-build, and it looked pretty comparable, but the catch was that it was a 256 gigabyte storage and it was 8 gigabytes of RAM. So then I would have to replace that storage because on a pre-build, you don't get to provide your own. You only get to do that on the kits that you assemble yourself. So it didn't look like much of a price savings either direction. It was kind of in the same ballpark. I think. I didn't really extensively figure it out. Now, let's go on here. Here's a comparison for the Intel i7 and i5, and we kind of looked through some of that on Saturday. I'm not going to go through these in detail, just pointing out or acknowledging that those comparisons exist. I feel pretty well convinced and sold on the i5, because I'm not trying to eke out every little bit of performance. And one of my complaints about, I don't need that page in there. One of my complaints about these performances, single core performance. What do I care about that? I want to know when I'm doing live streaming Fortnite or I'm live streaming to Windows Daily, am I going to experience a difference in performance? These comparisons don't tell me that at all. So they don't really give me much of an answer. There's those speed tests. I guess there wasn't anything else out here I had queued up to display. Yeah, not. And I think I'm going to have some construction things going on pretty soon here. So let's come back. Oh, wait a minute. There are some other things I want to bring up. Okay, I'm going to bring back to webcam, and I want to bring up that email from Rand Israel. I'm not going to go through it in detail, but it was fascinating what he did. And I got to go back and find it. I'm going to have to maximize this and search for Rand Israel's name. And I need to do this so that I'm not revealing his email address. Oh, yes. And then I'll zoom in on that, and there, that does it. So then back here to the live stream and switch to the Chrome browser, and that'll show, nope, not Chrome browser. I didn't set this up right. Okay, a little delay here. Come over here, bring up my Gmail in the Chrome browser, and then go back to this, because I had that on the Opera browser. Where are you? Here you are. And then zoom in on that so that I can conceal his email address by scrolling down. There we go. Now, Chrome browser. So here we go. On the subject of using Windows 10 with just 2 gigabytes of RAM, I thought you might be interested in a little experiment I did in a virtual environment. I'm enclosing 2 screenshots depicting Windows 10 and Windows 11 running as virtual machines under Hyper-V and consuming relatively small amounts of RAM. Both screenshots depict the same conditions, with one containing notes that I hope are self-explanatory. I've used the same PowerShell command 4 times to produce 4 different samples of the at different times. One thing I do wish to point out is that Windows 11 refused to install unless I configure the virtual machine with at least 4 gigabytes, but after the installation, it was perfectly happy to run with 2 gigabytes or less. Obviously, a physical installation of Windows, along with drivers and additional applications, consume more memory than a bare-bones virtual instance. So I'm not trying to claim that 2 gigabytes is adequate unless one has very modest needs or an abundance of patience for both. I'm merely saying that both Windows 10 and Windows 11 are flexible and will adjust their memory footprint as needed. Now, some people might say, why? Rand Israel, why did you go to all this work? What can we do with that? Well, Rand, I'm going to give you the Such a Doug award. This is a totally Doug thing to do. You got interested in that topic, you pursued it, and here's your screenshots. Let's see if I get this up right. So here's his full first screenshot. You see Hyper-V Manager up here in the background. And here's this screen print of information off of a DOS command prompt. So anyone who's interested in going back and looking what he did here, you can come back to this video and pause it here. I'm not going to go over the details of it. And then here's a screenshot too, where he went to the trouble of putting in all this extra annotation explaining about what is showing here about running Windows 11 on Windows 10 and 11 on this small amount of RAM. That was in relation to the comments that we were talking about Friday's Windows Daily, I think it was, about 4 gigabytes of RAM. And I just wanted to acknowledge Ran Israel went to the trouble of setting this up in a virtual computer environment, doing these tasks, making these extra notes, sending me this in an email. Thank you so much. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm thrilled to see that there's other Dougs out there that will pursue an academic subject just because you're interested or intrigued about it. I think a person learns a lot more when they do that, take that kind of extra delving into a subject that you just get intrigued with. All right. Oh, one more that I just got to give an acknowledgement to. I'll bring it up over here. I got to go back to my email because I sent myself a scheduled email so that I could get this link. Here's the scheduled email that I sent to myself. It is a what do you call it? Clip of Planet Cryos's video. Gary Holzman did a premiere, I think it was a premiere, that he put this video on his channel of Planet Cryos's build. Planet Cryos also has this video on his channel. Gary's not going to get a copyright strike over it. And the thing that Ken Stout showed recently, somebody sent him a thing about learn about copyright strikes. There's not going to be a copyright issue over this. And that was very interesting information on another side note. But this clip here, I will paste this into chat, and I'm bringing it up on screen here. And Carrie and Planet Cryos aren't going to send a copyright notice to me. They might be offered the chance to do it, but they won't send it. Planet Cryos did an awesome video here. It's a very entertaining video. This is his build. That's his 24-pin power line there, I believe, that has RGB on it. It is seriously over the top RGB. He did it for whatever reason. There's wonderful music through this. I highly encourage you to go watch that video. Let me go play. I'm going to right click on this, copy the link address, and then come over to the chat for today's live stream, this live stream right now, and paste that into chat. Type Planet Cryos. Super kudos, Planet Cryos. That was an awesome video you did. And then Dennis says just went live. Does that mean Dennis just went live? I don't know. I'm not caught up on that chat. I'll catch up on that chat later. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that was useful. Have a great day, everybody. Catch you. Okay, you probably just had another glitch because I accidentally clicked on the plugins button in XSplit, and this computer is struggling. And also probably struggling because Planet Cryos' clip was playing in the background. You might have been hearing that. I don't know if you were hearing that. I wasn't hearing it because the volume was muted. I don't think you were. Oh, DaVinci is in 5. Ken, do you have a URL to paste into chat before I leave? You don't have much time to paste your URL, Ken. Or you'll have a little bit after I end the stream. Yeah, Ken, you're claiming to be such a Doug. Good luck on that. All right. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Oh, there you are.